Good morning, everyone. I'm Meg from LovenStamps, and you are watching Maker Mornings with Meg. Today is a 2-for Tuesday, so double the fun. So first of all, this is only one of two videos that I'm going to share this morning. So now I'm going to do a technique for Maker Mornings with Meg, and then I'm going to also have a separate video that's an unboxing of a huge box of Stampin' Up! Goodies from an upcoming book that you haven't seen yet. So tune back in immediately after this video for that one. Now, the technique Tuesday I'm going to show you is a twofer because we're doing two techniques, and I never show you the card at the beginning, but I'm going to today so you know where we're going because it's just that fantastic. So we're using embossing paste, and we are using the curved occasion stamp set and punch to make a card that moves. So we've got a beautiful sunny day with a beautiful cloudy sky and the red convertible that moves across the card. So here's our card. All right, here you can see where we're going. Let me get my thing set up here. So here's where we're going, and it says from all of us, and then the little convertible moves across the card, and it says happy birthday behind it. Super fun, right? And we have these really, if we get our camera to focus, great embossing paste clouds that really give us a beautiful background. So morning, Tanya. All right, so with that in mind, here's where we're going. We're gonna start with our embossing paste, and then I'm gonna teach you how to do this little convertible car that moves. There's kind of a fun technique to it that's applicable to lots of things that you're gonna want to know. So, and then I have a surprise for the inside of our card. All right, guys, let's get going. I'm gonna switch our camera down, and we are going to get started here. All right, so first things first, what paper are we using? I am using paper, which gives us this fun background here. This is the from the Bright and Beautiful Designer Series paper. It's the one, it's in the big book, the one that came out last summer, and it has both these like party kind of backgrounds and then these fun ombre watercolor texture background. So you can see the balloons there if that helps you remember which stamp set we're talking about. I actually have a whole series of videos from last summer about this designer series paper. So I really love this blue because it gives us the ideal background for clouds. And we are going to add our embossing paste clouds to that. So I've got a few things for this. I've got my embossing paste. I have the palette knives and the links in the video description for all these supplies. And then I need a mask to go with this. Now, we don't have right now a specific cloud mask, but that's easy because you can use anything you want to make a mask. So when I showed you this card a couple weeks ago, so this was one of our feature cards for tutorials during December. But this background here, there you can maybe see the texture. This is a textured embossing paste background. We used a mask for that. But we're gonna go ahead and make our own mask for this one. So we are going to take a piece of cardstock, and we need something to make clouds. Now, we do have a cloud punch, which is a really great tool for this because you can go ahead and punch your mask cardstock, and then you can turn that into your mask. But I have a sneak peek for you that is from a stamp set that is coming up. So watch for this one to come out in January. Ready? Oh, it's called Bright Skies. There it is. And it is really sweet and includes a whole bunch of clouds. Hey, Kelly. Hey, Bonnie. Hey, Corinne. Okay, so here it is. It has not only the stamp set, you brighten my cloudy days, brighter skies on their way, sprinkled with love. It has a little lightning and so forth. And this lightning bolt perfectly matches the gems that are in the Be Mine Valentine, the Bee Suite. But it also has this fabulous set of dies here, both ones that match the stamps. They're the open dies that you can see here, and then some extra shape dies that are closed. So those are a neat way to extend these. And then it has these fun big and small raindrop dies that go with it, stems for the flower and so forth. So this is a really cool set. So we're gonna go ahead and you won't be able to get this, unless you're a demonstrator, you won't be able to get this until January 4th. So put it on your list for that first chance. But if you are a demonstrator, you can get this now in pre-order. So you would want to place a demonstrator order type. And if you're not a demonstrator and you're like, Meg, I don't want to wait, you can visit my website to learn more about getting your starter kit. And actually you could get this stamp and die bundle in your starter kit now. So, all right, so we're gonna take these 2 dies. We're gonna make ourselves a mask. I have a piece of cardstock and I have pre-die cut, like this. I want the clouds to look like they're part of a big cloudy sky. So I've kind of gone off the edge of the paper on this one and on this one. Now, you'll notice that this die doesn't have a flat bottom. I could have just cut a flat bottom out here, but I wanted it to be a little bit more shapely. So I flipped it around and did that. So here is our mask. And our mask is cut to the same size here as our card. So I've got this set there. And then we are going to go ahead and add our paste to this, okay? So actually I cut my mask a little bit bigger. When you are using a whole piece with your a whole piece of paper that you're gonna add embossing paste to, you wanna make sure that you're not having like edges show. Like you wouldn't want this situation. So where I'm spreading embossing paste and now I have a whole like strip of it that's not part of my design. So you wanna keep your pieces lined up very nicely so you don't get extra embossing paste where you don't want it. All right, embossing paste. If you missed my video the other day with this one, make sure you go back. I'm not sure what episode it was, a recent one though, so check back. But this embossing paste comes in a giant container with a foil lid. Now, once you open this, you kind of got like a limited amount of time to use it. So I save the silver foil and I press it down all the way down, tap it all the way flat to the embossing paste. So when you put it away, you don't have air touching that embossing paste because that is going to shorten the life of your embossing paste. So it should be nice and soft. And I'm going to use my palette knife to pick up a bunch of it here. And then let me get you guys a little closer. There we go. That's our Zoom music. So what I've done is I've put the embossing paste mostly on the bottom of my palette knife, which makes life a lot easier. And then I'm just going to hold my mask in place and I'm going to wipe this across kind of like I'm frosting a cake. Now, I kind of want to have some texture, so I'm not going to make it all flat. I'm going to pick up some more. Just pick it up with the bottom of your palette knife to make your life easier. Get that held down, and then I'm going to run this across here and add just a little bit of texture to it. Now, actually, hint for our project, I want this part down here to dry pretty quickly, so I might use my texture at the top of my card where we're not going to have our punching interfering. Let's see, get that there. And I think I need a little more for this last part. Now, once you have some paste that's on the side of your container, that if you're not opening it for the first time, you want to kind of avoid that because it's going to be hard chunks and you don't want those hard chunks to get mixed up into the paste you're using. It'll leave lines. Let's see, do I have any in here? See right here, I'm getting this little like mark. That's because there's a chunk of dried embossing paste here on my palette knife somewhere. And let's get rid of that. And there we go. So I'm kind of smoothing this across here. All right. So you see how I don't have this even. I purposefully have some texture, some bumps and so forth in here because these are clouds, right? And they have texture. So now I'm going to pull my mask away and look at how pretty they are. We have these gorgeous clouds. So fun, right? All right, now the cardstock mask is good for once use. If you're gonna do another one or two of these right now, you can go ahead and do that. But once this paste dries on here, it's pretty much done. The other thing is you might wanna keep a bowl of water or cherry water handy for your palette knife so you can get this into water right away. Once the embossing paste dries, you'll have to kind of scrape it off there, which is a little bit painful, but not terrible. But if you just drop it into a bowl of water right away, you won't have to worry. All right. So like I said, I'm going to take my silver foil here and really press it down onto my embossing paste so that I don't have that embossing paste touching the air so that it's staying moist, okay? And then it should be good for next time, all right? Lid back on. Now, back to our project here. So we're gonna go ahead and we're going to work a little bit on the card mechanism and then actually have one more embossing paste thing. You know what, while this is drying, I think I'm gonna do the inside now. So let's move this aside. For the inside of our card, I am going to use from the Curved Occasion stamp set, this little cake here, which is kind of perfect for, I've already got it, this cake here that's kind of perfect with embossing paste. So I'm going to use Pebbled Path as my neutral. When you're using Stampin' Blends markers, they are alcohol based, so you want to use, hey Joan, hey Tanya, hey Margie, you want to use a classic pad, one of the water-based pads with your alcohol-based markers, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and do some quick coloring. I'm not gonna do a lot of shading on this. I probably I'll have to come back to that. All right, so run this across here. Oh, I have paste on my hands. That's fine. It'll come off later. It's like little kids and like gluing their fingers. I don't know. Maybe that wasn't a thing when you were growing up. And then I'm going to use some Parakeet Party and add some Parakeet Party to our leaves. And then because we're going to use a little bit of Daffodil Delight on the front of our card, I'm going to go ahead and bring that to the inside of our card and just do a little like swipe here of our candles to make those stand out a little bit. So we're going to make a birthday version. Okay. Now, what are we doing here with embossing paste? We are going to actually mask with masking tape. So you could use a piece of cardstock, but masking tape just really, it does what it's supposed to do. Hey, Anya. Hey, we're represented from Germany today. Good to see you. So the trick with masking tape is that sometimes the stickiness varies and you want to make sure you don't rip your cardstock. So what I'm going to do is just find something linty. Here I've got my sleeve. Just a little bit linty and rub this a couple times on there so that it really removes just a little bit of the tack from the masking tape. And then I'm going to use the straight edges of this to get straight edge across our cake. And I think you can get closer again. There we are. Let me move this a tiny bit. So we're going to come back to our embossing paste, which I so carefully closed, oh well, and open it up again. Okay. Well, I think we're going to, there we go. I did such a good job closing it. There we go. All right, so now I'm gonna use my other palette knife and I'm just gonna take just a little bit. We're not gonna need a ton here. And then I could just squish this back down and close it. So we have on the back of our palette knife a little paste, and this is going to be our cake frosting. So I'm gonna try and be careful where I put it and pop it just, I should have masked the bottom of our cake too, but we'll do that freehand. So I'm gonna get this right down to the bottom. And you can see why we put the masking tape on. It helps to protect the sides of our cake. It'll have nice crisp edges here once we take that masking tape off. Okay, there's a lot of paste on here. I probably could have done a little less, especially since this is gonna be the inside of our card. Maybe I'll take a little more off. All right, but again, getting that texture on there. And so now when I take my tape off, remember to pre-stick your tape so that you don't get too strong of a bond there. Get the extra wiped off. Now we have our cake here with the frosting on it. Cute, right? Yes, Margie, thank you. Okay, I was afraid for a moment that I was the only person who remembers kids gluing their hands. All right, so let's come back out here. We're a little close. And come on to, we're gonna let this dry. And then we're gonna come back to the next part of our card, which is gonna be our cute little convertible. So we have this car here. We have like a great selection of car images right now, cars and trucks and so forth. And so we're gonna go ahead and stamp this here on our piece of basic white. And again, I'm gonna use Pebbled Path and color with our Stampin' Right markers. And while I have this out, I'm just gonna go ahead and do one more little bit here that we need to stamp, and that is a greeting that's gonna pop on the front of our card. And I just have a little strip here. Okay, like at a terrible angle to actually see. Is that, wow, that is the straightest, I think, like last second thing ever here. Hey, Colleen. Oh, sunny in Calgary. Yes, well, this is going to be a super sunny day card. It's sunny here too, not as cold as there, but it is chilly. We're about 10 degrees warmer. We're 0 Celsius. Do you like how I spoke Celsius there? So we're going to go ahead and color this, and I have my Poppy Parade Stampin' Blend. Hey, Cheryl. And we are going to color our car. So I thought to go with our colors here, so here we'll kind of bring our colors back in. I thought that Poppy Parade would just be perfect. This green paper that's going to be our grass, this is also from the Bright and Beautiful paper here. So, oops. Okay, we're letting our clouds dry while we color. So, how was everyone's weekend? Hope it was wonderful. I got to hear some fabulous Christmas music from my daughter's college choir, and really enjoyed that. They all got dressed up. You know, you buy those prom dresses and you think, okay, great, we'll never wear this again. But her chamber singers group wears fancy dresses for their holiday concert, so she's gotten to use her prom dress from her junior year a few times, which is just feels like a win, right? All right, we're gonna go ahead and add some yellow here for our headlights. I know taillights are red, but we made our car red, so we're gonna go with that there. And then I have my smoky slate, and I'm going to go ahead and color around here. Oh, I meant to make the little hubcap centers red, so we'll come back and add that when we do our second shade. And then I'm gonna make the windscreen here smoky slate, and our little seat back, and the little cover there for the back. So, all right, so now I'm gonna add my darker smoky slate. So that was our light, this is our dark. And I'm going to darken the wheels. And so this is the same color. Stampin' Blends come in pairs. And then I'm gonna add just a little like highlight there, and maybe one on the side of the windscreen. All right, then I said I'd add some red here to my hubcaps. Those are dark. And then I'm gonna add some shading on the car itself. Let's come back in, whoa, out, in, come back in here. I'm gonna add some shading on the car itself. So I'm going to add dark above the hubcaps, since that's where there would be a little shadow, and then along the bottom of the car. And then I'm going to come back and, oh, maybe there's a line here. I'll do too. I'm going to come back and blend that. So now I have the light marker, and I'm going to color there at the intersection between those two colors. And that is going to blend because the alcohol is going to sink into the paper, and it's going to move that pigment around. And as the alcohol moves the pigment around, it's going to soften that line and give us that nice shaded look. So here's the back side of it. You can see the alcohol really saturates the paper, and that's what makes the blending part of Stampin' Blends work, okay? All right, so there we have that colored. All right, back and back out again. We have a chance to cut this out. I know, everyone loves when there are dies for things, but it's okay to cut, and especially on a card like this where there's so many fun things. Like this is a pretty special card with all the techniques that we're doing and the time and so forth. So I am losing my voice. All right, so turn to fussy cut. All right, and there you go. I talk about fussy cutting a lot in my videos. If you haven't seen that before, keep watching. It'll come up again, I'm sure. Oh, there we got some coffee. We're got my mug from Orlando here, one of my favorite places to vacation. All right, so we've got our car here. Now, we are going to mount this here on our card. Now, if you jumped in late, hey Joan, hey Anna, and you haven't seen where we're going, this is what we're doing. We're making the card that moves here with this little car that drives across our card. All right, so we've got our clouds here set, and they are not quite dry, but probably dry enough. So let's talk about putting this card together. what we want to do, I'm gonna mount this on a piece of Azure Afternoon, which is one of the newer colors. This one came out this summer. So if you don't have it yet, this is going to be one that you're going to want to add to your collection. It's in the permanent colors, not an in color, but one of the actual color collections. It's part of the Brights. Yes, it's part of the Brights family. I had to double check there for a second. And I could add these right on here, but I feel like that is not quite as finished looking. So instead, I'm going to bring the white from our clouds out and mount this on a piece of white that then goes on our card base. You see how much more finished that looks. Now, usually when I glue, you guys are gonna love this. Usually when I glue, I kind of do a quick and dirty version. So this is my multi-purpose liquid glue. You don't need a lot. If you can see it, it's enough. But we are going to do a little bit more than usual. So I'm gonna pop my blue on here. So you can see that match of the Azure Afternoon. I always say smush from the backside, but this is still wet, so I can't turn it over. Now this is the part that is actually going to matter. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put glue across here, but then I'm actually gonna use the other side of our multi-purpose liquid glue, and I am going to squish this around because I want it to cover every bit, and you will see why when we get to the mechanism for this, you're gonna see why that kind of matters. So I only did it at one edge. It only matters at one edge, but it does matter at that one edge. So that one edge went right here because when we do our mechanism, we don't want edges of this paper to get caught in the mechanism. We want that to stay, okay? All right. Now this is not dry yet, but we're gonna take our chances. So ideally you would let this be 100% dry. You can use a heat tool to speed it a little bit. The danger of that is if your paste is very thick, you're gonna end up with some cracking in your paste. Okay, I'll show you the mistake part, but I was in a hurry. So here you can see my paste cracking because I heated it too quickly. So you're best to just let it air dry. That's where it's happiest, but we need to make our cards, so you guys don't want to watch things air dry. So I'm going to use my Curved Occasions punch. This punch is right now bundled with a Curved Occasions stamp set. And okay, now I have to double check my computer here because I don't remember. So Curved Occasions stamp set is retiring and it's actually on sale. The Curved Occasions punch is not retiring. So let's see, I lost track of you guys. There you are. So what you want to do is get this as a bundle right now if you want the stamps to go with it. I'm going to show you some cool things with the stamps. And then of course we have our car that's part of this stamp set. We have the disco ball and roller skates here. And I picked Curved Occasions as my feature for LovenStamps monthly tutorials, the ones you get free when you place any size order with me during the month. And so for December. And so you're gonna have 2 more ideas and videos to use with a stamp set. So you might consider getting them now. But anyway, the punch will be around longer, which is good because it's such a perfect mechanism for this card. So I am going to slide this in here. Can you tell I'm kind of stalling? Oh, I don't want to slide it across my paste, but there it goes. All right, and I am going to slide this in most of the way. Might be all the way. And I'm gonna go ahead and punch, okay? Then I'm gonna slide this to the side. I am ripping up my cloud and I'm gonna punch again. So what I'm doing is making sure that I'm not enlarging the hole on the side there, but I need a little bit more play towards the end. And then I'm gonna do the same thing over here and try and get it to about the same amount of arc across there, okay? So that was 3 punches. Oh, our cloud survived pretty well, actually. Okay, so you can just, go for it. You don't have to wait, I guess. All right, so now we have our track, okay? So what is the next part? We want to have under here our greeting. So I need a piece of cardstock for that, which I apparently did not cut for myself. And you could use like a tiny little piece on there, but we have so many moving parts on this card that I highly recommend just using a piece that's about 5 by 3 inches so that you're not having mechanism pieces get caught on this background paper, okay? So this is gonna go under here like this, and so you can kind of, let's get the card base out of the way so nothing's moving. And then what I wanna do is I want to use my happy birthday stamp with my Pebbled Path ink again, and we're gonna put this greeting back here. Thanks, Corinne. Hey, Mary Ellen. All right, we've got from Montana to Germany, well, California. I know we have some California folk. California to Germany on our video this morning, so always fun to see where everybody's tuning in from. Okay, so I could stamp through here, but if in case I've gotten extra ink on here, I'm not going to. I'm gonna go ahead and just pull that away because I can also adjust the placement of my mat underneath so that I make sure that this is gonna sit where I want it to sit. Now, it's really tempting to want to put this on, but I can't yet because I need to go ahead and make the mechanism on which our car is going to mount. Now, this is one of those things that I told you. This is a mechanism that you can use for lots of things. It's not limited to just this card at all. And I realized I need a long strip. Okay, how can I not have a long strip of narrow cardstock when I need one? I swear, usually they're coming out my ears. When you guys cut card mats, don't you end up with like many extra half-inch strips lying around? There we go. Okay, because I have one folded already, but I want to show you how to figure this out yourself because every application is just a little bit different. Oh, now we're north to Minnesota, west to Oregon. Hey, Louise. Hey, Diana. Hey, Jody. All right. So what I'm going to do is start with this, and basically what I want is a piece of paper that is going to look like this, okay? So now if you are not an engineering minded person, you're looking at that like, what the heck? We're gonna trim this part off here, but it's gonna work too. Oh yeah, Diana says use the truck and the truck punch for this, for sure. But here is how this is gonna slide in here. So I'm gonna slide this little knot on the front, and then you can see how it's going to kind of fit in here. Okay, see, so that we have a big slider to anchor it on the back, and then we have the part that's going to attach to the truck, and then we have that little V in the middle that is basically going to allow it to move here on our track here. Now, this part that runs from, I need like a pointy thing, that runs from right here to right here, could be the width of the track, but it doesn't have to be. What you have to have is you have to have enough width across here, so from here to here, that it doesn't slide out of the track when you're sliding, okay? So it has to stay in there. You don't want it to like, come out or anything like that. And the back here, this strip on the back, this is gonna help anchor it, okay? All right. Hello, Wisconsin. That was a show, wasn't it? Was that from that 70s show? Yeah. Hello, Wisconsin was at the end of their theme song. All right, so the other thing is that this piece on the front here needs to fit on your car. So you can't make it taller than the piece that's gonna hide it, okay? So we wanna hide our mechanism. Oh, Sue says she'll bring me some strips. Oh, please no, Sue. I have plenty. They're just in my closet. All right, so let's pretend we're folding this from scratch. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna make the part that is going to go on the back. So this is gonna go on the back of my card, and then I'm going to make the little part here that's gonna be the top anchor, okay? And then I'm going to fold back to make the first half of our car piece. So I'm kind of working like this, right? So our car is gonna go like this. So then this piece here, I'm gonna fold again under so that it doesn't overlap our car, see? So we've made it so that it's the right size for our car. And then I want this to meet in the middle or a little bit short of the middle so that it is going to be our piece on the front, and then this is gonna be our piece on the back. And then I can trim this end, and then more about that trimming the end in a bit, okay? All right, so let's get our one out, remember? So it's basically gonna look, let's see. It's basically gonna look like this. This is, ideally these would be the same. It doesn't matter though, okay? All right, so let's talk about that trimming that I just mentioned. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna add some glue. You want this to be strong glue. Multi-purpose liquid glue works. I'm gonna put it kind of on the back here where if you think about what we're doing the anchor that's gonna go on the back of our card. We're not gonna glue the front part. So, all right, there we go. Now we're just gonna hold this for a minute. Da 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 da. We need like a Monty Python-esque hold music here. All right, so there we go. Okay, so now we have that glued and we're gonna slide this into our track. So I'm gonna pop one here, and since this isn't mounted yet, we can kind of get away with bending our card to get that in there. So see, we have that long back and the narrow front. And here is how you decide where to trim it. So when the truck goes all the way to the end, I don't want this to be sticking out, okay? So what I'm gonna do is turn this to the back and trim away that last little tail. So now we have plenty of width here on the back, but our little slider is going to work all the way to both sides, okay? See how that works? All right, there we go. So now we can pop our happy birthday message on here. So I'm gonna kind of eye where that's gonna go. And I want there to be space for things to travel. So I'm going to add Stampin' Dimensionals on this inside layer. And then my favorite way to assemble this is always to just sort of set it down where I want it to appear, and then just double check it on the back side to make sure that there's nothing popping out the edge on the way around. So, all right, now we have our 2 more dimensionals here at the top to make that equal layer. And now I have my multi-purpose liquid glue again, which I'm just gonna use to pop this on. All right. Now we have our card base with that Azure Afternoon perfect match. And we're going to pop this on here. Now we need to add our card to our card. And we are going to do that with multi-purpose liquid glue also. And I'm gonna pop this card on our little stopper and give it a second to dry before I mess too much. And then we also have our little flag. And I think I'm gonna do, on my other one, I put it on the other side, but I think on this one, I'm gonna put it on this side. Whew. Okay, that's pretty uneven there, Meg. There we go, a little better. Honestly, I'm usually not too concerned about whether it's even or not, so. And then we're gonna pop a couple dimensionals on here, because why not? And pop this here on our card. Did I manage to glue all on the, no, there we go. Okay, so we're not covering up too much clouds. So now we have our car that travels here across our card. And I would send it probably like this from all of us, and then people can be like, oh, look at the car moves, it's so cute. Now you can see here why it was so important to glue really well under here, because you don't want that mechanism to get caught as it travels across the card. The cloud is bad enough, but it's cute, so we're gonna ignore that. And actually you can see it's really not bad. But we really don't want it to get caught on that green lip of paper there. So here's kind of what it looks like. Let me see if I can show you kind of here from the side. See, so we have our anchor that is behind the layer, and then we have our little slider thing that's on the front of our card. So this is a great way to do lots of these. Now, you have maybe seen penny slider cards where instead of that chunk of paper, you use pennies. And you basically would put a Stampin' Dimensional between here, or 2 like this, and then this is the mechanism that goes into the track. So this would definitely work there. The penny slider tends to spin, and I didn't really want our truck to spin so much, but it would work fine too. So you can use this cardstock version, or you can use this penny version. You can make this slit narrower. It doesn't have to be this wide. You can actually do it with just like an 1/8 inch wide slit and make that same paper mechanism that just slides into the slit to hold everything needed. But either way, so yes, no pennies were harmed in the making of this card. Oh, we still have our centerpiece to put into our card with that cake that we added there. So fun. The other thing, actually, you can use your heat tool and it will puff up your puff up your, what's this stuff called? Embossing paste a little bit, which is kind of a fun bonus. So let's go ahead and add this. You just have to be careful that you don't end up with cracking. So sometimes when you dry too fast, you can crack your embossing paste, which actually, I will say is totally a technique, right? Like there's lots of things I can picture that would be perfect with embossing paste cracked as part of the, you know, like a collage-y kind of card. Actually, it'd be really pretty for this one. Who knows, maybe I'll show you that as our, with our flowers there, maybe that'll be our next one with a pretty cracked background with embossing paste. But there is our sweet cake there with our, you see how cool that is. Oh, it's very dimensional actually. There, you can kind of see it. The clouds are very dimensional too. Lots of great texture there on our card. So go ahead and drive those convertibles all you want. So sunny days, it's meant for it, right? All right, morning, Patricia. Okay, everybody. Well, that is our Maker Mornings with Meg technique tutorial for today. If you want to stick around, give me about 5 minutes to just switch my set out, and then I will be back with a live unboxing video. So you can watch those things. And if you're watching later, it'll appear as a recording later too. So don't worry, you won't miss out. But I have a huge box of things from the upcoming January through April book to show you. So with that, I'm going to sign off, and I will see you not Thursday next, but in a minute or two. Happy stamping, everyone.